Good evening. Thank you, Freeholders, for giving us an opportunity to highlight for you some of the exciting things that happen in CD and Home Investment Partnership programs. To give you a little bit of background, the CD program began in 1974, and 30 years ago, the National Community Development Association, who Al Fayella was a president of that organization, started a program to have a CD celebration for the whole week. So this week actually is Community Development Week. So what we've done tonight is we've invited a few folks that receive funding through the CD program or Home Investment Partnership to come in and give you a very brief explanation of what their programs entail. But before they step forward, I'd just like to briefly introduce the staff, because they're really the reason that everything gets done as efficiently and effectively as it does. So I'll first I'd ask all of you, as much as I know they don't want to, but if you guys could just stand so everybody knows who you are when I call your name. Tom Connell is our Bureau Chief for Community Development. Julian Petrago handles all of our environmental reviews for both CD and home. Pete Pisano handles the facilities and home improvement projects. Georgette Corvelli runs our housing subcommittee. Teresa Eva is not here. She's administrative support for our team. Brandon Gibbons does social services programs for us. Jim Heim runs our home investment partnership program. We have a new member of our team, Armando Medina, who was not able to be here. Armando's new to our department. He is working with Tom Plant, also on the home inspections. Tom is going to be retiring in September, so Armando is training with him now, so that he'll be ready to step right in and help out there. We have Grace Minnis, who takes care of all our finances and the administration of the grants. Anyone that gets anything out of CD knows Grace well. Rosa Santos does administrative support for us. And we also have another new member of our team, and that's Lise Twaddle, who splits her time between the CD program and the Home Investment Partnership. So without any further ado, grateful to be on a team with folks like them. So I'll just give you a brief introduction of each of our people that are going to be speaking to you. We have 6 people representing 6 different types of programs, and they're going to briefly just tell you a little bit about what they do. So first up will be Randall Wood. He is the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Plainfield. The Housing Authority of Plainfield received $120,000 in CD funding for the demolition of the Elmwood Gardens project. So I'll pass it off to you.
Good evening, freeholders. First of all, Randall Wood's my name, Plainfield Housing Authority, Executive Director, the CEO of the Premier Development Corporation, which is the former Plainfield Community Development Corporation. I want to take this time to thank each and every one of you for what you've done, for awarding us $120,000 for the demolition of Elmwood Gardens. As you know, if you don't know, Elmwood Gardens is a former 120-unit public housing site that held over 644 residents for the city of Plainfield. It was built in 1964. A viability and marketability study in 2011, it didn't pass. It was very hard to maintain because of the fact that the structures back in 1964 are not different from the structures now. Of course, HUD, as well as the Housing Authority and our commissioners, we felt as though, we want to do something good. We want to be able to take her down, and we believe every family deserves a front and back door, and not a hallway. Hallways were just too difficult to maintain. There was a lot of criminal activity in that particular housing project. We did all we could to become proactive. We worked well with the city. We worked well with the SALT initiative from the county. And, you just couldn't stop it. It was very difficult. Well, we lost a lot of money. As we did our viability study, marketability study, and did our performance with HUD, we were finding out each year we were losing $236,000. So the right thing to do, and we spoke with the city and the residents, was to take her down. Now you may have a question, well, what happened to the residents? Well, we made sure we meticulously moved each and every family through a Section 8 voucher program throughout the county and throughout the nation. And we didn't get one complaint. Of course, that was after, there were those that were evicted due to non-compliance of the lease that we had to enforce that didn't get a voucher. But I can tell you, out of 120 families, we were able to move 100 particulars. So I was very grateful for that. But again, we're at the stage now where we're looking to do a tax credit deal, and we're working with the developer CIS at this particular time. We haven't engaged or signed the final master development agreement as of yet, because we're still at the point of negotiation. We realize that it takes a little time. She might sit about 18 months before we can actually start the building. But at this point in time, we've got all the bricks and mortars down. We're at the pulverization stage where we're putting all, well, we separated, and we're putting landfill in and fill the holes in the basement. We're going to make it look like a park. We're going to make it look like a beautiful park probably within the next 6 months. And until we're able to get the finance, we will definitely make sure it looks good. And again, the city is pleased, but of course, we're real anxious to build something new. But your $120,000 went a long way to help this project. To do this total demolition was $1.2 million. So this has helped us immensely. And I just want to take the time to thank freeholders for the award. I want to thank Mr. Tom Connell and Mr. Computer Casano, who helped me every step of the way. And we're here if there's any questions. I promise I wouldn't take up too much time, because I know there's others that have to speak, so I want to be respectful. But if there's any questions you would like me to answer while I'm here, I'll be glad to do so. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Dennis McNanny, the Senior Vice President and CFO of the Gateway Family YMCA. They received $45,000 in CD funding for their roof replacement project. Dennis?
Good evening to all of you. I'm going to be very short. But I want to, we want to thank you on behalf of our board of directors of the Gateway Family YMCA, Chris McCanny, our CEO, and all of our staff, and especially for all the people we serve for assisting us. I have to say, as Amy stated, we received $45,000. We have some pictures over here, kind of working backwards. Shows the repair of the roof that's going on as we speak almost. And in the past, we also want to thank you for assisting us for windows, which we showed over here on our Broadway branch location. And the big hole in the ground there is when you helped us a number of years ago with assisting us in putting in an elevator. So Karen's been very good to us. We're very appreciative. I have to say that Tom, Pete, and Grace have made it so easy in working this through. So we are appreciative, and also have to put a plug in for our housing side, because we have a big housing component, as you know, and we do want to thank you for the assistance that you also provide in that area as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Next, we have Jolene Donovan, the Executive Director of Family Promise of Union County. They received $9,000 of CDBG funds for a Transportation for Homeless Families program.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me here today to thank you for supporting our transportation program at Family Promise. As some of you may know, we are a national organization which is based in Summit, but I run the Union County program, which is a shelter program, and we serve homeless families throughout Union County. 65% of our clients are children. I have another poster at the end there which shows 4 children who are off to school in the van with the van driver, which is what the CDBG funds supports. I just wanted to show you that this poster here has to do with our national program, and it speaks to how many volunteers nationally. But in Union County, we engage 37 congregations who provide 16 host sites for overnight shelter and volunteers, and we have over 1,000 volunteers in the program engaged every week serving our families. We serve about 20 families in the shelter each year. We also administer 3 rental assistance programs through the county, and we serve another 20 families that way. We work with our families once they've graduated from our program, and we work with about 32 families that way, and we also have an information and referral service that we provide with another 250 families each year that we work with that. Our program is a great inspiration for volunteers to want to do more, and we have some very interesting programs within our program. For instance, one of our volunteers created the Need to Read program, which is a literacy program, and every Wednesday night literacy volunteers come and work with our families and the children. During the same time, we now have a few doctors who overlook family medicine who conduct a health education class with the parents at the same time. We're bringing in some workshops, of sensitivity workshops. We're working with Imagine in Westfield, and they've created curriculum for us specifically on how to deal with the loss of your home. And that's going to be workshops for volunteers to understand about the trauma and grief associated with being homeless. And it's going to be a more intimate workshop for the families where they can deal with the loss of a home and their belongings. Thank you for having me. I actually left papers for everybody in front of you, so some takeaway facts, so we wouldn't have to talk too long. And I thank you all for inviting me. I especially want to thank Tom and Brandon and Grace, who are very supportive. Thank you.
Next, we have Reuben Shaw. He is the program coordinator for the Roselle Park Senior Center. And the Roselle Park Senior Citizens Program receives $18,000 in CDBG funds for transportation.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you, holders. I'd like to thank Tom and Brandon on behalf of Mayor and Council, as well as the seniors. And seniors have told me that give them the blessings because of you guys. They are going to the bus trips in the summertime and during the weekdays as well. Because of the bus, they are coming to the nutrition program every single day. We have about 35 to 40 seniors who comes in and enjoys the nutrition food every day. Just want to say thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask Angel McGill to come forward. He's the president of McGill Real Estate Holdings. Since 2003, McGill's company has built 50 units of affordable housing, and they've received $2.3 million in home investment partnership funds to make that happen.
Good evening. I wear a lot of hats, but public speaking is not one of them. So I'm going to be as brief as I can. As Amy mentioned, my name is Angel McGill. I'm the president of McGill Real Estate Holdings, an affordable housing development company. I have been partnering with the County of Union for the last 13 years. And when I was called and asked to come up and say a couple of words, I said, how can I fill the time without having to read off the script? Because usually I write them and then I can't read them when I'm up here. But basically, I remember something that was very intriguing for me back in 2003 when I first approached the community development program office. And I was reading through the paperwork, and basically I realized that the way the program is named is the Home Investment Partnership Program. The word partnership stuck in my mind, and I was very, very intrigued by the word. I have worked in other counties, and another county calls it a partnership. And basically, I couldn't see at that moment what was it called a partnership. I figured, well, it's an investment, but how is it a partnership? It took me a few years, but obviously 2003 came in. I want to thank you, if I haven't before, for awarding, looking at that application favorably. But 2004 came in, we put in another application, and thank you again, it was looked at favorably again, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So it took a few years, but after a while, it started to sink in why was it called a partnership. For me, a partnership is a team, it's two individuals or two organizations, two entities coming together for a common goal. And for the last 13 years, the County of Union, under the direction of the freeholder and under the management of the Community Development Program, have truly created a landscape where partnership with individuals like myself and others is truly a successful partnership. As Amy mentioned, within the last 13 years, we have created over 50 units of affordable housing. We have supported at least 15 full-time jobs. And in my eyes, that is the true meaning of a successful partnership. With that again, I want to thank every one of the freeholder, the county management. I want to thank the staff of the Community Development Program, and I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker is Melissa Cornejo. She is a medical case manager and a licensed social worker. She works for Neighborhood Health Services Corporation, and they received $5,000 in CDBG funding for their domestic violence program.
Good evening, freeholders. Again, my name is Melissa Cornejo, and I am representing the Neighborhood Health Services Corporation. I'm going to read, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. The Neighborhood Health Corporation is a major provider of ambulatory medical health care services in Union County, New Jersey. We are located in Plainfield, New Jersey. The Neighborhood Health Services provides a comprehensive array of prenatal care and support services for all residents in the community, including the uninsured and underinsured and most vulnerable patient population. The target population for this project is patients who are either referred from the other departments within the health center or self-referred for domestic violence concerns from the community. The especially vulnerable population groups are the pregnant adolescents and women experiencing prenatal and or postpartum depression. It is entirely possible that many of our patients go through domestic violence and abuse alone without realizing that there is help and resources available to them. The Neighborhood Health Services Corp is ideally positioned to serve as a gatekeeper for those patients who seek help in addressing their domestic violence situations. The Neighborhood Health Services Corp departments are trained for the lookout for obvious and suitable signs of abuse and offer potential victims an opportunity to discuss their specific situations with professional social workers. The staff is fully aware that confronting a domestic violence situation is scary and intimidating process for most. The staff approaches the issue with understanding, patience, kindness, and support. Once the social worker receives a referral for domestic violence assessment, she guides the patient through a complex system of domestic violence services, including shelters, family support, and advocacy, just to name a few. The CDBG grant has allowed the Neighborhood Health Center Corporation to continue to proactively address the issues of domestic violence among its diverse and multiply disadvantaged patient populations. With the grant, we have been able to promote awareness regarding the issues of domestic violence and substance abuse, especially among the minority populations, by displaying anti-violence and substance abuse messages and information throughout the main facility and satellites. We've also been able to educate patients regarding the availability of domestic violence services on site, as well as through partner community agencies in Plainfield, New Jersey. Also, we've been able to establish formal agreements and referral mechanisms between us and community agencies to provide services for domestic violence. We've also been able to offer and facilitate access on-site and or via referrals to services that deal with additional issues that negatively impact the patient's lives, including homelessness, unemployment, dysfunctional family settings, and poor coping skills. On behalf of the Neighborhood Health Services Corp and our patients, we Thank you very much for the funding. Thank you.
Al, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to say, but I would like to thank all of our presenters for coming out and sharing the hard work that they do, and our staff as well.
If I may, Chairman, thank you very much. Thank you to our staff for all the fine work they do, and for the nonprofits, our partners, as Mr. McGill states, and they truly are our partners for all the great work you do and for taking the time to recognize it. It's very important that we recognize Community Development Block Grant Week every year. We're very fortunate in Union County. Our freeholders understand the importance of the program and advocate for additional funding and support all we do. And for the most part, our legislators on the national level in New Jersey do as well. But as someone who's worked throughout the country, in many states that's not the case. This program is always under attack. So it's important that we recognize the importance of what these programs do, and to have you advocate and talk about what they do and the lives that you change is very, very important. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, and let me just add, the organizations we saw tonight are an example, and just an example, of all that we can do with the community development funds. They're not by far all of the organizations, obviously, but it also points out something that I mention often around the county, and that is how lucky Union County is to have so many great organizations within the county that we can partner with. County government can't do everything by itself, and it's only with great organizations like these and others that we have here in the county that we can get the services out to our citizens that they need. So thank you all once again for working with us. We appreciate it, and thank you for coming tonight to help us highlight this important program. Next, we have another presentation. For those of you who may not know it, Union County is a member of New Jersey Association of Counties, which is a statewide organization that works in Trenton and across the state on issues important to all of the 21 counties within the state. Freeholder Wright is our representative and does a wonderful job working with that organization on our behalf. Tonight we have the Executive Director, John Donadio, here, who is going to just give us a preview of what they're working on in the coming months. John.